I'm Warren. He's Charlie.
You're listening to the Berkshire Hathaway Annual Shareholder Meeting Q&A session with Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger from May 5th, 2018.
And I would like to just spend just a couple of minutes giving you a little perspective on how you might think about investments as opposed to the tendency to focus on what's happening today or even this minute as you go through. And to help me in doing that, I'd like to go back through a little personal history, and we will start. I have here a New York Times of March 12th, 1942. I'm a little behind on my reading. So anyway, on March 10th, when again the news was bad, full clearing path to Australia, and it was like the stock market had been reflecting this, and I'd been watching a stock called City Service preferred stock, which had sold at $84 the previous year. It had sold at $55 the year before, early in January, 2 months earlier, and now it was down to $40 on March 10th. So that night, despite these headlines, I said to my dad, I think I'd like to pull the trigger, and I'd like you to buy me three shares of City Service Preferred the next day. So the next day, we can go to the next slide, and you will see what happened. The stock that was at 39, my dad bought my stock right away in the morning because I'd asked him to, my 3 shares. And so I paid the high for the day. That 38 and a quarter was my tick, which is the high for the day. And by the end of the day, it was down to 37, which was really kind of characteristic of my timing in stocks that was going to appear in future years. But it was on what was then called the New York Curb Exchange, then became the American Stock Exchange. But things, even though the war until the Battle of Midway looked very bad, and if you'll turn to the next slide, please, you'll see that the stock did rather well. You can see where I bought it, 38 and a quarter. And then the stock went on actually to eventually be called by the City Service Company for over $200 a share. But this is not a happy story, because if you go to the next page, you will see that well, as they always say, it seemed like a good idea at the time. So I made $5 on it. It was again typical of behavior. But when you watch it go down to 27, it looked pretty good to get that profit. Well, what's the point of all this? Well, we can leave behind the City Service story, and I would like you to again imagine yourself back on March 11th of 1942. You do not have to know as much about accounting or stock market terminology or whatever else it may be, or what the Fed is going to do next time, and whether it's going to raise rates 3 times or 4 times or 2 times. None of that counts at all, really, in a lifetime of investing. What counts is having a philosophy that you stick with, that you understand why you're in it, and then you forget about doing things that you don't know how to do.
구독하기, 좋아요, 잘 읽었다는 댓글 남겨주세요. 큰 힘이 됩니다.